trying to avoid and fight against it at every cost? Or are you someone who wonders if weakness is a character defect and something to work your way out of? Are you someone who feels put off by the weakness of others and tends to think that most people are able to push harder, dig deeper, and work smarter to grow strong? If so, please don't give up on this devotional quite yet. I've been there too, and I found that reading about the gospel and weakness helps us understand parts of ourselves and others. Perhaps you'll find that instead of providing comfort, this devotional can soften you with mercy, compassion, and a true perspective of strength. No matter who you are or where you're at, I pray the Lord uses these short reflections to point you to His help and strength as He has for me. But before you jump in, there are a few things you should know. What I mean when I say weak. Weakness is a word with many meanings. It's used specifically and precisely, and it's also used as a blanket feeling word to cover many experiences in life. Though each of us might describe weakness differently, in some way or another it indicates a lack. Perhaps we call ourselves weak because we lack the muscle fibers and physical energy to lift a heavy box or move a dresser. For others, the experience of weakness reveals a lack of fortitude in the face of a struggle, the lack of power to resist temptation, or the lack of judgment when facing a difficult decision. We might feel we're weak because we lack the skills, abilities, motivation, and aptitude to do something. Weakness can express a lack of power or agency or potency. If weakness is simply something we don't have that we want or need for life, the instances of it are nearly endless. As a concept, weakness can play a variety of roles. It's able to be used objectively and relatively and subjectively, even all three at the same time. Here's what I mean. We can speak about weakness objectively. Often, defining something as weak is not influenced by our personal opinions or feelings, like when we say, a newborn baby is weak. Anyone who's been around an infant for any period of time can see that they can barely hold their head up, let alone hold a heavy cup or lift a dumbbell. Though they are precious image bearers whose lives matter eternally to God, they aren't yet mentally developed. They are weak in knowledge, discernment, and judgment. They are weak in agency and power, relying on their parents to survive. A baby is definitively weak. There's no need to argue about it. Weakness can be factually true. On the other hand, weakness is relative. Saying a newborn baby is weak is still true, but context can change how I think about the concept of weakness. What type of baby are you talking about? A full-term newborn baby is strong in comparison to a preterm baby on oxygen in the NICU. The chameleon characteristics of weakness make talking about it tricky because there's almost always someone or something stronger and someone or something weaker depending on what perspective you're coming from. Finally, weakness is subjective. For this example, let's think about a new mother. Some would say a new mother is weak because after just giving birth, her body is physically exhausted. She's likely losing a lot of blood and might struggle to walk easily depending on how her labor went. Because of hormones or complications or any number of factors, she might be emotional, sleepy, or even buzzing with words and energy. On the other hand, some would say a new mother is strong. Despite being exhausted, she wakes up multiple times over and over again to feed her new infant. If that baby is in the NICU or has complications, to the best of her ability, she fights for the health and well-being of that child. Her husband or her friends might look at her and see strength, while she feels utterly weak and depleted. As we explore weakness in the gospel in this devotional, which definition will we use? Will I be speaking of it objectively, relatively, or subjectively? All of the above. But to avoid as much confusion as possible, I use the phrase feel weak throughout this devotional. Because sometimes, though we feel weak, compared to someone else's experience or another person's perception of our actions, we're strong. As you work through this book, you'll notice that the title of each devotion helps you identify the type or feeling of weakness you'll be hearing about. The strength you need isn't where you thought it was. Do you ever leave your house or apartment, walk to your car,